Hey everybody and welcome to Brewster's. It is Wednesday, November 16th. With me as always, Sean Fouché, our special guest, WC Nix, TCU Hall of Famer, and I'm Wes Phelan, your host. Hey everybody, we got a big game coming up on Saturday, right Sean?
Yeah, against Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
11 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Get out of bed.
That's all about.
Get up there early.
A lot of Bloody Marys.
Yes.
Yes.
Breakfast burritos.
Breakfast whiskey.
Breakfast whiskey, okay.
Breakfast beer.
I haven't tried that one yet, but maybe I should.
Breakfast, whatever you want.
It's always whiskey o'clock.
So, Dubber, we had a game a couple of weeks ago, and we had a little bit of a time lag between that game and this one. So, what do you think? What do you think about the Baylor game?
Well, I'll tell you what, just about the time you're wondering, hey, how's this team? What are they ever going to do? They're going to get consistent again. Well, they went out and played their best game of the season. Offense, defense, special teams, everything is an unbelievable game by them. You can say what you want to about the Baylor, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Man, they went down there and just lined up, physically beat them on both sides of the ball, and just played an awesome game.
I don't think Baylor would have won if Art Browse had been on the sideline. Now, TCU wanted that game, and they went out there and took it.
Well, what I've said, if we played like that all year long, we wouldn't be sitting up here talking about, hey, we need to win another one to be in the bowl game.
Correct.
We'd talk about, hey, are we high enough in the top four?
Oh, playoffs. Yeah, we'd be talking playoffs.
That's what we talk about. If we played that consistently all year like that. Of course, injuries, health, new people, there's a lot of factors that started out the first of the year. But it looks like if we can keep getting them offense and defense playing at the same time, we got a great shot.
Well, that's what we talked about all season long. Play 4 straight quarters of football. Don't peter off for 2 quarters. Don't have an off quarter. If this team played 4 straight quarters of football from the very beginning, there was no team on the schedule that they couldn't beat.
Yep.
And but you're right. It's part of the game. You got injuries that happen. We lost Turpin, who was, a huge loss. Obviously not just from an offensive weapon point of view, but also the heart and soul of this TCU offense that we found out after the fact.
Right.
Kenny Hill is starting to, I guess, catch on a little bit. It looks like he's starting to listen to what Cumbie is telling him. And I think at one point in time we didn't talk about this, but there was a moment before that Baylor game where Cumbie went to him and said, we just need you to play the game, like we're trying to tell you. Don't try to do too much.
Yep.
Just try to manage it. Don't become, don't think that everything is on your shoulders. Trust the guys around you.
It looks like, of course, Patterson said this week in the press conference that they're going to unleash him a little bit and have more designed runs for him, which is going to unleash his athleticism, which, it looks like he's almost been hesitant to run a little bit. When he does, he's pretty darn effective.
He was in Baylor.
Absolutely.
Well, if you got that, that's part of your arsenal. You use it.
Absolutely.
He hasn't done that, and I will say this. Even for me, you mentioned Turpin and this and that, but really and truly, the reason why we won that Baylor game, our offensive line and our defensive line were unbelievable. It's the best game our offense was. Being a lineman, I watch our line quite often, and I haven't been pretty critical of them. I haven't been happy with several of them. But I tell you what, this week they went out there. Last 2 weeks ago, Kyle, it seems like ages. But 2 weeks ago, they went out there and they lined up and they flat. I was worried about that part of the game. And our offensive line flat dominated Baylor's defense.
Well, the run blocking looked fantastic.
Unbelievable.
It was a night and day difference than what it's been in the beginning of the first half of the season for sure.
How many yards did Hicks have?
Well, he had 198 or, just shy of 200.
Right.
So,
he's now on track for 1,000 yards on the season.
They just you don't get that many yards unless somebody's doing something right up front, and that has been one of our missing links and Achilles heels, and for the whole season was that the offensive line has not played very, very well. And they played. It wasn't even close. It was by far their best game.
Well, to borrow a term from your old coach, Jim Wacker, they went out and played some smash mouth football.
Yeah, they did. And, I was worried about it. I'm going to tell you right now, I was worried about, can we line up and, we wouldn't have to – I look at it, I know we passed the ball, and I know we did it very effectively. but we ran the ball so effectively, it just opened up everything. And it seemed like every time we decided, all right, well, we're just going to go ahead and run it down your throat this time, or 3 plays in a row, we just did it.
Well, this team has consistently been one of the bottom teams in the Big 12 on third down conversions, especially third and short, because we couldn't rely on that, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 to run the ball to get the first down. But this last game was probably the first time we saw this offensive line take control and dominate the line, blow their guys off, and we felt comfortable finally for the first time handing the ball off and getting that first down in third and short situations.
And we tend to play, Baylor's game has always been a power running game with vertical passing.
Right.
We played Baylor football better than they did.
Yeah, in Waco.
In Waco.
Yeah. Now we need to do it in Fort Worth.
Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, that could have been the reason why Kenny Hill also was on his game. Right. It sure takes a lot of pressure off of you when you're running back and you're line or open up holes and you're running the ball well, because then it takes it and you got to put 8 people in the box all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden now you got desirable one-on-one matchups,
Well, it certainly gave him enough time in the passing game too, because then he was able to work his progressions.
Yep.
I don't know if the issue that he's had up to this point in the season with just the fact that he was so locked in on his first read was that he just didn't feel like he had enough time to be able to get rid of the ball and set and be able to kind of survey the field. But this was the first time, and against a good defense, not the best defense in the Big 12, but certainly a really good defense, a whole lot, night and day difference as opposed to what we had the week before at Texas Tech. This is the first time I actually saw him on almost every single passing play, not lock into the first receiver, survey, go through his reads, and when it was necessary, check down or even take off and run.
I only saw him one time where he made a throw.
Well, there was that one throw. You're right. There was that one.
But that's all right. I mean, one throw that whole
and it didn't
game
burn us.
that I felt like, hey, you just totally did what you've been doing, but he never went back to it. He didn't get frustrated. It's almost like he learned from it right then and there, and we didn't see it again.
Right.
And so, you can take that. It's when you continue to do it over and over and over again, and so anyway, I got to tell you, I was impressed. I didn't know what to expect. All I'm hoping is I just want to be 1 point better than Baylor at better. I mean, at Baylor, 1 point better and beat Baylor there.
If there's
That's
any
all
team
I wanted.
you can have a Gary Patterson special, it's Baylor. Right?
Well, we were 1 point better. 62 is better than 61.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, my deal was,
to look at it.
It could have been ugly. I didn't care. I didn't care if we won by luck. I just wanted to beat Baylor. And, with the way we were playing, only half the game on offense, or maybe only 1 quarter and only 2 quarters defense, not putting anything together. I knew this is an uphill battle for us, and sheesh.
Well, after that,
we just killed them.
Second play of the game from Baylor, when they their first pass, they tried a deep one and it failed, and then the second one they connected, and I thought, well, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Well, not only that, in the first one, he should have intercepted it.
Yeah.
It hit him right in the hands. I mean, it should have went the other way, and I was kind of like you. It should have went the other way, and then the second play of the game, boom, they hit the deep one, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a long day. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they just turned it around. After that, it was like it.
So we get that great momentum. We go into this bye week. As a former player, do you like having a bye week, or when you get a game like that, do you want to keep going and playing?
Well, I'll tell you, what's unique, though, I mean, at times you need to bye a week because you're just beat up.
Sure.
I mean, at times you're beat up. But what's unique about the Big 12 that a lot of people don't understand is the Big 12 takes 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
This is our second bye week and the reason why they do that is because of not having a championship game. They want to extend.
Not yet, at least.
They want, not yet, but they want to extend out where that last weekend that people are playing championship games, that we have a meaningful weekend of football and we're not forgotten. But what it's done is it's put that second bye week in there, and I just can't imagine that finally we're healthy. We put a full game together, and to sit there and have to that would have drove me crazy, knowing that I couldn't go back out and play for another, have to have another whole bye week.
Well, but as a player, Do you think that it's incumbent upon the leaders of the team then to kind of get the guys and go, look, well, this is a good opportunity for us to kind of work on some things and kind of perfect some of the stuff that the coaches have been telling us?
I mean, you definitely have to do that. I mean, you got to look at it in all those terms, but as a player, deep down, you're thinking, hey, we just clicked on all cylinders.
Right.
We kind of figured. I mean, it's kind of like we kind of figured it out. I mean, we've got some things figured out here. Let's go put them back into motion again the next week, and then all of a sudden you don't get to do that. I mean, all of a sudden you have to go back, and you do. You have to go back to the drawing board, and that's really good. I think it's good both ways. But when you're not playing so well and this and that, and you need things to work on, you got a young team, and hey, you need that bye week. You're beat up. You're this. That. Well, they're pretty fresh. The bye week wasn't that long ago. They're pretty fresh. They're feeling good. Hey, we're finally. Hey, I will say this: our defense has been playing pretty good for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah, since West Virginia.
3 games after. Yes, I mean they've kind of put it together.
Really, if you want to make a case, you can go all the way back to the Kansas game, where things started to click.
That's where I go back to, because as ugly as the Kansas game, it didn't have anything to do with the defense. If it wasn't for the defense playing like they did, we'd have lost that game.
Yeah, we would have.
And then every week the defense, it's just like I look at Tejada. I mean, I'm not picking on him now because you got to work back in the Coach Patterson's defense is all predicated on them cornerbacks being able to play man-to-man defense. They got to line up. They got to be able to play man. I mean, they're going to be on an island.
Yeah.
Well, he'd been out for a year and whatever. I mean, it'd been a long time since he'd been on the field again. Well, it takes time to work in, and then you lose your confidence, and then it took him a while to get it back. But the last few games,
he's been locked down.
You haven't heard anything about Tejada getting burned or. I'm almost back to the point. I'm like, go ahead, throw it at him because he's going to.
Well, the only way they were able to beat him at Baylor was the push-off in that second play from scrimmage. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of that, he pretty much locked down their top receiver.
Yep. And both corners did. Both corners. Oh,
Lewis has been great addition.
They've been playing great. I mean, they've been playing. I've just seen it been happening for the last 3 or 4 games. You just see him getting better and better and better. Tejada's getting back to the form he was as a freshman. And what I've always noticed about Patterson's defense, them corners got to play. If them corners play, that allows that defense to do a whole lot of different stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it does. If they don't play very good, then it's almost kind of weird because it's almost like you've got to cover up for the corners. It
falls then on the safeties, and Orr can only do so much back there, and I think he's been kind of handicapped a little bit by the, like you said, the corners have kind of had to find their way this season, and you're seeing a much better play from the corners now that we've got Lewis back. Nico Small has been outstanding the last couple of games. He is where he needs to be the majority of the time. Now, does he need to put on a little bit more weight? Yeah. Does he need to be able to tackle with a little bit more ferocity? Yes. But he's kind of like Ty Summers. He's where he needs to be 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And Lewis has certainly been helped. Tejada's been shut down, and that gives Orr an opportunity to go head hunting.
Yeah.
Which is something we haven't seen, which has also opened him up because now we're starting to see interceptions and turnovers on the defense, which we didn't have before.
Yeah.
Well,
and all this is happening at the right time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're in
the right time would have been the beginning of the season, but
no doubt.
At least it's happening now.
But better late than never.
Yes,
Amen.
no doubt. All right, is our camera still okay? It got bumped.
Oh, did it?
I think it
did.
Look, I think it's okay.
Like they're getting more of me and less of Wes.
Yeah,
but
that's.
No. Whoa! Hey! There we are. It wouldn't be a live show. Just put that on the step. Put that. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay. Now
All right, we're good to go.
We're good.
Live television, folks.
We're back. There you go. You think ESPN has these problems?
You can't drink beer on ESPN.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. You can't. But
exactly.
At least that we know of.
Going all the way back to that first question, first bye, great. Second bye, no. I mean, I couldn't stand it.
Couldn't stand that extra bye.
I couldn't stand it.
Well, the only advantage I can see at this point in the state is, a couple of them. Patterson said in the press conference a couple weeks ago they're going to do a lot of the coaches are going out recruiting during that bye week.
Yeah.
Right.
And the coordinators will manage the practice. But the key thing on the field is we've got all these guys healthy.
Definitely.
But Kevontae Turpin's back 100%. Patrick Morris is back. I think there were a couple others that were on the
But they were going to be back. They were already back. That's why I said this second bye.
Well, I think Morris was not at 100% yet at Baylor.
You know what, though? I've always heard, and it's funny because every 2 days you walk in and the coach look at you and go, "How you feel?" "I feel great." And they go, "It's healthiest you're going to feel all year right now.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can because after today, your body's going to change. It's going to be beat up. And it's like that for everybody in the country that plays football. So, you know.
How long did it take you after a game to recover?
Oh, you know, it took me.
So it depends on who you saw after the game.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, I mean, it took me until Monday to where I was really, you know, Sunday was not good. Monday, a lot of time I rode the bike. I didn't, you know, I was knees and this, that. They kind of took it easy with me. And so I guess really by Tuesday, you know, you kind of, I never really missed practices. So I was back full swing into practice on Tuesday. But you know, hey, it takes Sunday and Monday, and the longer the season gets, you know, coaches learn, got to back off a little more, got to back because at the end of the season, you're beat up. I mean,
I imagine those guys are playing the line. I mean.
Yeah.
I imagine, you know, your knees by the time you reach game 8, 9, and 10, I mean, it's like, you know, you're probably laying in bed Sunday just going, man, if I have to get on my knees for communion in church today, it's going to be a pain.
You get down, but you may not be able to get.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Knees, ankles, shoulders. I mean, you're just beat up by the end of the year. But you know what? You're just used to it. You know, it's kind of like that pain just creeps in a little bit, a little bit more, and a little bit more. And you don't realize that until you get to the end of the year and it's over with, and you start to finally recover in a little bit. Then you're like, hey, man, I feel a lot better. I can move, you know, a lot better, you know. So there's definitely, but I think everybody goes through it. So I would say, like I said, I understand the needing buys and this, that, but I've never, ever since we went to that's the only thing I've never liked about that is having that
second
buy. Double buy. I mean,
well, having Morris at 100% though, as somebody who watches the line a lot, I mean, we had Schlottman go out with an ankle injury, and then Morris comes in, takes over the duties at center. And to be honest with you, there wasn't a whole lot of drop-off between Schlottman and Morris. And then now Schlottman's back, so he's back at center, and now we move Morris over. So what are you seeing there as far as how the line dynamic has changed now that Morris is in with Schlottman?
Well, I'm going to tell you, him moving over is, I mean, it just, I don't know, it just gave a continuity. When you brought him center back in, moved Morris to guard, it just sent made a whole continuity to the line. It just seemed like they played better together. They're just more physical. I enjoyed watching him play. You know, Morris playing. He played physical. He played. I mean, but you know, I mean, unlike a lot of positions, truly those 5 guys work with each other every play. I mean, pretty much. They got to know what the other guy's doing. You get a feel for guys, you know, and then that's a hard thing when you're moving people in and out because it's just a different feel. I mean, you know, you can sit there and you can. You know, I played again. I mean, beside a guy named Brian Brazel for, you know, my 2 years for sure there, and me and him kind of, you know, by the end of it, we kind of knew what we were doing. I mean, I knew what he was doing, and you didn't have to really practice it even. I mean, it kind of got to be where you just kind of moved in unison.
I've heard it's almost kind of like, you know, how dancers train.
That's right.
You know, for over the years, because the guy that you're next to. And in some cases, if you're in the interior of the line, you got 2 guys there next to you. That over the period of time, you kind of understand how everybody's going to move. You know, what foot the person's going to be going back on the snap, and it becomes kind of this choreography almost.
Oh, it is.
Which is amazing. In fact, Scott used to always love to, you know, say, you know, hey, we're just, you know, a bunch of dumb linemen. You know, wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah. But, you know, and I used to go, I was like, hey, you beat yourself up. He goes, no, it's just a joke. Well, yeah, because the linemen, for the most part, you guys are kind of almost like the smartest guys on the field because you're a unit of 5 that has to work as one.
Yeah.
And it is almost like that as you practice, you kind of have to practice and understand each other's movements. So when you bring a guy in like Morris at the center position, you're replacing the center.
Yes.
And that's like the anchor of the line for you guys. And then now you got Schlottman back, but then you move Morris over. You would expect that there would be some growing pains there, but we haven't really necessarily seen that.
Well, a lot of it has to do with who's come in to be the next center, too. Because that guy, not only is a center, I played center and guard both. I mean, played both guards and center at TCU. And at center, you're the guy that makes the calls. I mean, you start it off. It might be the front. It might be which way the blocking scheme's going to go. I mean, I don't know exactly how, TCU does all their schemes. Everybody's a little different. But really and truly, it's going to start with the center. So if you get a guy there that understands everybody else and what everybody else is doing, the center truly really, I always knew
field marshal.
I knew what everybody was doing. I mean, I don't mean that like I'm super smart or anything, but it's just part of, I had to know what the guards are doing, the tackles are doing, because I'm making certain calls that affect everybody.
Now, Sean said something interesting about being a choreograph. Did y'all sit around and choreograph your moves and say, look, when the ball's snap?
Oh yeah, we would. You practice that, yeah. I mean,
you practice, what your plays, but do you say, okay?
No, but I'm talking about we practice. Well, no, but when like combo blocks and stuff like that. I mean, you snap, you step.
Right.
You both step together. There's a way you do it. There's a feel of, hey, how do you know when to come off to go to the next block that this guy's got it?
Right.
And you do it by repetition, over and over and over again with that person. And some of it's physical, but then a lot of it is, like you said, it's not even physical. It's just when you're out there together in shorts and T-shirts, you're always doing that. But just because one guy stepped a certain way, you bring somebody else in, like you're saying.
That's different.
Well, that step might be 3 inches or, this or that, one way or another. I mean, that just makes a big difference,
Sure.
And so just totally different from one to another, and that's why I say that the line's so important. And it was crazy, but by whatever they did, by Morris moving over, it's like they shored up the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it shored up all that move or two. It's kind of like it shored up everything and up front. It's kind of like
it's like they kind of were more in sync.
Yeah,
so to speak. Going back to the dance analogy, it's almost like having a partner who's good but doesn't quite fit with their partner. Maybe they're a little smaller, maybe they're a little bit taller, whatever it happens to be, but something's just not quite clicking. But when Morris moved over suddenly and we got Schlottman back at center, it just seemed like the line suddenly worked in a way that we hadn't seen all season long.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't think that necessarily would be the case, given the fact that these guys practiced together for so many, many weeks up to that
I
point.
had heard, and I don't have any verification on this, that Doug Meacham, who was an all Big 8 lineman at Oklahoma State, had spent a couple of weeks working with the offensive line almost exclusively. So maybe he drilled some things into him, and
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but like you said, you put 5 blocks together and 2 blocks aren't quite the same. It all fits together. It might work. It might all work, but then all of a sudden you put the other, take the piece out and put another piece in, slide it over, and all of a sudden you got a puzzle. Yeah. I mean, the puzzle works now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what has happened with the line, that at least for that one game. They switched it around and moved over, and it's like all the pieces fell into place. And, like you said,
from what I've heard, and I haven't had this verified outside of my one source, which I'm not going to give up here, but from what I've heard is that moving Morris over made a huge difference in practice. So it wasn't just like that one game everyone kind of clicked. It's been clicking.
Well, yeah.
In practice. So it wasn't just kind of like dumb luck. It just so happened everyone just had a really good game. I think we're going to see a much more improved line against Oklahoma State, which we definitely need if we're going to beat the Cowboys on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's when I say that, I just want to say it again. I want to see that 5 go out there and they function like they did against it. Because, hey, if they do, it's going to be a great end of the year. I mean, because if they could take control up at front,
We can run the table at this point.
we can run the table.
Yeah, it'd be great to end at 8-4
Yeah.
on this season with all the things that have happened up to this point, all the injuries that we've had, all the the growing pains that we've had in the season. To end at 8-4 would be an unbelievable finish. Now, the team is capable of doing that, but like you said, I mean, whether or not they can do that is going to be dependent on whether or not they can put together those 4 straight quarters for the next 3 games.
Yeah, I think we all had high hopes going into this season, but
definitely.
we tend to forget sometimes we gave up 5 guys to the NFL after last year's
Oh yeah,
game.
I mean,
And
you
that's
end up with a quarterback that is now in Seattle. They're singing his praises about how he's emulating, the starter
Wilson,
Russell
yeah.
Wilson, and Josh Doxson, who's probably one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver at TCU ever.
Big V.
Yeah, you've got you lose guys on both sides of the line, both defense and offense, and it just hurts the team. And I think we thought we had those bullets kind of reloaded and we're in the gun and we're ready to go and everything will be fine and we trust in Gary Patterson. But
Right.
it does take time, and especially when you replace a guy like Kenny Hill and or you put Kenny Hill in the replacement of Trayvon Boykin or Josh Doxson. It'll take time.
Well, I mean, like I said, we lost our 4 top offensive players. 2 of them on the line, in my opinion, and it's hard. I mean, they got to get up to speed. I mean,
Yep.
you got a group, and you don't ever know how. Hey, from year to year, you don't know how that group of 11 are going to work. Again, you think you know Patterson, and you think you know Meacham, and the Cumbie and the offense coach. So you think hey, they got the right scheme. We've seen it work.
Yeah.
But you still got to put all them parts together.
Yeah.
And
Like you said,
see
it's a
it-
puzzle.
see it- It's a puzzle.
It is a
and,
puzzle.
So the only beautiful thing about it is the puzzle's coming back together. And if it continues on, we got 8 scholarship seniors.
Not many.
No,
I mean,
not
I think
many.
it's 8
I think
total.
it's 8 or 7.
8 or 7.
I think you're right. Though.
But
I think it's 8.
that means a whole bunch are coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
The puzzle, you're not having to fit the puzzle near as much.
It's like we talked about when I made this comment last week. If I'm a coach right now in the Big 12, seeing the way the TCU defense is starting to come together now, and knowing that pretty much everybody on that side of the ball is coming back for next season, and the fact that now TCU, because of the bye week, we slipped. So we were number 1 in total defense going into the bye week. We're now number 2 in total defense. But knowing the fact that the way that the defense has kind of struggled to be able to kind of put it all together, now they've kind of seemed to they seem to get it.
They got it.
And you got 3 more games to go in this season, and pretty much everybody's back next season. If I'm a coach in the Big 12, I'm thinking, I'm circling TCU. I'm like, man, for my offense to be able to do something against this team next year, it's going to be extraordinary.
Well, that's what Patterson. I think he can say what he wants to. I understand it's a new era in the Big 12 and all that. But I know that it grates at him. It's got to. He's a defensive guru.
Sure.
And he wants his defense back to be hey, maybe it is a little bit different, but he wants his defense being back to what it was, when he got here.
Well,
when
he's talked about that.
Yeah.
He's frustrated because, in the Big 12, you give up a lot of points.
Yep.
And he's not used to that. He's
Yep.
used to having defenses rated based on what's the score on the scoreboard. And to be able to trust your defense to go out there and win games. And it has been frustrating for him.
But I think he's finally getting back to this defense that's going to, hey, when you look at what he did to Tech, I mean, what was, I forgot, what was the final score at Tech?
Boy.
Against Tech?
24? Yeah,
Yeah, we kept him under 30. I mean, it was
27-24.
Yeah.
And that was in overtime.
Yeah.
We gave him, what did we give him, 10 in overtime?
Yeah.
That was really 17 points.
Yeah, 17 points against against the
and they-
number 1 offense in the Big 12.
Nobody's held them down.
No.
Still,
No.
everybody that's played has been a shootout.
Well, look at Baylor. Look at West Virginia.
Well,
Look at,
that's what I'm saying.
Kansas is the outlier there, but Kansas was a really good defensive game like we talked about. But if you look at West Virginia, Texas Tech, and you look at Baylor, you're talking to the three of the top 4 offenses in the Big 12. And this defense has kept them to
Yes.
season lows.
Yep.
That is Gary Patterson
And
football.
so I just believe that he's getting real close to getting that defense back. And the big key is, can we get it all going at the same time?
Right.
Offense, defense. There's been years
saw it at
we've
Baylor.
been a little better. Well, like last year, everybody would say offensively we were a lot better than we were defensively. I mean, our defense has held us in the games. But, when we first got in, defense was definitely stronger than our offense. So every year it just seems like we just
Yeah.
barely miss one or the other.
Well, 2014 was the only time where
Yeah,
both
well,
clicked
yeah,
in almost
both
every
clicked.
single game.
Yeah.
So, and you saw what happened with that team.
Yep.
And they got screwed over by the playoff committee. But that was an unbelievable year because we just had everybody kind of come in. This team really does kind of remind me of that 2013 squad, where the defense seemed to figure it out a lot quicker than the offense, but the offense never quite got there. Now we're 9 games into the season, and the offense finally on game 9 figures it out. And whether that is attributed to the change in the line, whether that's attributed to what Kenny Hill has been able to do, having Kevontae Turpin back, wide receivers running the right routes, whatever it happens to be, they seem to have figured it out for 4 straight quarters.
Right.
And the defense has figured it out even earlier than they did in 2013. So now we've got a team that if they can just trust in themselves and play TCU football, they can run the table.
Yep. I believe they can. I mean, if they just come out and play close to what they played against Baylor, I'm telling you right now, we're running the table. We played extremely well. You know, you sit there and you look at games and you go, man, they dropped 3 passes, should have been touchdowns, and blah, blah, blah. I just didn't get that feel against Baylor.
No.
I got the feel that, hey, we lined up and we just dominated them. We just took it to them from the start to the finish.
I tell you what it felt like is it felt like watching the Dallas Cowboys this season.
Yeah.
Where you're watching the Dallas Cowboys and it almost feels like it's a routine football game, right? Like you just expect them to kind of pull it off, you know, no matter who they're facing off. That's kind of like the Baylor game. It was like every single time we had the ball, it was like, all right, we're going to make something happen here. We got 3rd and 2, not a problem. We're going to make it. You know, 3rd and 6, you know, Kenny Hill will figure something out. It just felt almost kind of like it was routine, which is odd. It was an odd feeling to have over, especially from the last 2 seasons.
Well, and I'll say this too. I mean, I talked about the offensive line, this, that, but you got to have the skilled people, and we got the skilled people, and it's like the light bulb that's coming on for Kitty. Light bulbs. Hey, even for Hicks. I mean, as good as he's been, he's just all of a sudden, it's kind of like he's figured out his line and how it's going and where to run and this and that. And we got some receivers that are finally, you know, that's probably this one thing I think we still got to kind of work on is the consistency
of the wide receivers.
The wide receivers.
Yeah, too many drops.
There's too many drops. And, you know, I will give, you know, Kenny that. I mean, you can't help drops. And like Patterson said, you can't help routes that's been ran wrong, and then you turn around and you figure out it looks all like it's Kenny.
Yeah,
and it's really that wide receiver. Yeah. And the sad thing is, we got some speedsters. I mean, we got some kids. Now that doesn't necessarily mean they can catch, but I mean, we need to if we can get more consistent with that. You know, I mean, you can count on Dotson. You know, we had 2 or 3 wide receivers last few
Liston
years. Dotson.
Even Slanino in the middle.
You knew that when you threw the ball to them, there's a good chance that they would come back. Well, the ball was good thrown, bad, good, or indifferent. If it was close enough to them, they'd go get it and catch it. We got Turpin. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the guy that does that now. I mean, he can make, but we just don't have a consistent.
Austin,
you know, they're there.
Yeah, those guys got to step up a little bit.
Flashes.
You see flashes.
Yeah. Taj.
But Doxson was 6'3", and Turpin's 5'9" or 5'8" on a good day with cleats on. So I mean, what always gets me is when they throw a fade route to the smallest guy in the field in the end zone. That's
they seem to like Austin and Turpin on the fade routes. And it's like,
but Dawson,
go to Williams.
6'1".
It's because they trust those guys.
But still, I mean, you got better options that are much taller.
Yeah, he was right though. They trust.
I don't love the fade route. I mean, I do, but I don't. I mean, when we're running as good as we were the other day and stuff like that, forget the fade route. I'm a lineman. Let's line up and hit them in the mouth and let's go get 3 or 4 yards and. You know, we got 3 downs. Let's go get it like that, and let's not worry about it.
Yeah, put TJ in the backfield as a lead blocker and just smash him.
Yeah,
you know, and those are the kind of plays. And you're talking about Hicks seeing the line a little bit better. Not only that, in the Baylor game, I mentioned to Wes. I said something just looks a little bit off about Hicks. He isn't hitting the line as quickly as he is. And going back and looking at it, what it was is that he was being more patient.
Yep.
He was waiting for those wrinkles. He was waiting for those holes, and he trusted the line that they were going to be there. Where I felt like before, he felt like if I don't get there soon enough, it's not even going to be there.
Yeah.
And so it opened up a whole nother level to his game. and he just absolutely dominated. And going back to the wide receivers, yeah, the wide receivers have got to do a better job, but I think they're starting to get it. I think we're starting to see that the wide receivers are running the right routes. They know where they need to be in position, and they're finding those kind of holes in the zone.
Right, no doubt about it.
Well, they better get it because I'm kind of getting excited about some of these recruits I've seen and heard about. I've seen a couple of the wide receivers. I don't know their names. I got their number, and
Seen their huddle video.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, I'm like, oh yeah, these guys are the real deal.
And they're bringing the quarterback, Sean Robinson.
I saw him the other night. I watched him the other night, and he is the real deal. I mean, you don't ever know how that's going to translate. You see a guy and you think, it's kind of like Tomlinson. When LaDainian come, he was not their go-to guy.
No, not until junior year.
No, until his junior year, and then it just kind of worked out.
And it was like, where's this guy been?
And then he looked like, what happened to the first 2 years, you
right.
know? But when, that happens all the time. But if you just look at some of the stuff, some of the film or some of the huddle, oh my goodness! I don't know how you can't get fired up about that if it just holds all true,
Well, the future certainly seems bright.
Yes.
And having that bye week, like you said, there are some downsides as a player, but as the plus side as a coach is that it does give them time to go out there and shore up the recruiting.
And that was a good time after the Baylor win to go out there and get some of
Do you see what we did against Baylor?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the game on Saturday. Coming in, OSU's ranked, 12th in the country?
Yep.
8-1. They lead the overall series between TCU and OSU, 14-10-2.
It's because we can't win in Stillwater.
Can't win. Yeah, we're 3-8 up there, but we've got a winning average here in TCU.
We need to keep that going.
But our team definitely has a little bit of an OSU flavor to it. Dub Meacham was an all Big 12, or Big 8 lineman up there, and one of their assistant coaches for many years. Curtis Looper was a running back. Chad Glasgow played linebacker for him. And then J.W. Walsh, who's a graduate assistant this year, is one of our quarterbacks. So we've got an OSU flavor to the team. And I think Coach Meacham brought a little bit of Oklahoma State offensive mentality with him.
Well, Meacham and Gundy, they were, at one time they were really good friends. They played together. Everything. They were tight. They're kind of made out of the same cloth, I guess. To say. But that's why they're not together, because they're made out of the same cloth. I don't mean that bad, but that's just kind of the truth about it, But you're right that, But I probably feel more comfortable this year with Oklahoma State than I have in a while, just because I've watched what our defense has been doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I have faith that our defense is going to line up and shut Oklahoma State down just like they've shut the last 3 or 4 people down. Games
to be clear, I don't think they're going to, post a goose egg on the board.
No, not a goose egg.
But I definitely think they're going to continue that trend of keeping them to their season low low average.
I'm not talking about 70 shutdown. I'm talking about 2016 shutdown. 2016 shutdown. I could see them holding them under 25, 21. I believe they're going to hold them down, just like they've done in the last few weeks.
I think Oklahoma State's going to have more field goals in this game than they want to, or that their season average is set up to this point.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, it'd be great if we beat them like we did the last time they were in Fort Worth, 42-9. That would just be.
That'd be perfect.
It might be a little too much to hope for, but you know what? I think we're capable of winning the game. And
that 2014 squad that Oklahoma State had, they had a lot of question marks. They had a lot of things that they were trying to work at as well, and they hit us at a time where we were firing on all cylinders, and they weren't firing on any of them. So this is like the exact opposite Oklahoma State team. So they're now at a point where they think they're playing really good football, at least the best football that they're playing all year long. And we're coming in, and we think that we're now at the point where we're kind of playing the best football that we have. So it should be one heck of a football game on Saturday.
Yep. Well, they've got a good team. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a good offense. There's no doubt about that. Gundy's a freaking genius.
Does he still have that mullet?
Oh, he's still
rocking it?
Yeah, he's still doing it. God. I heard that's because his kids were drafting or something like that. They had short hair or something, so he said.
So I'm just going to.
Okay, I'll grow it out, and he said I'm going to grow out a mullet.
Well, on KillerFrogs, there's that post, that OSU lookalike post.
Yeah.
So we always take a coach or a player and put their picture up, and find somebody that looks like and somebody put a hedgehog up next to Gumby.
Yeah.
Or not Gumby. I call him Gumby. Gundy.
Gumby.
Gundy.
Well, remember who's that OU linebacker that was so feared back in the 70s and 80s? You know what I'm talking about, number 44.
I've had concussion syndrome, so I can't remember all that.
Yeah, don't look at me.
Well, he's in that commercial with Bo Jackson right now.
Oh, you're talking about Brian Bosworth. He
Brian
played
Bosworth.
OU though.
Yeah,
OU.
and he used to call used to call him Gumby.
Yeah.
You know, and just rub it in his face and
Yeah.
Gumby, I'm coming after
Gumby.
you.
I guarantee it.
But anyway, yeah. So they put a hedgehog up next to Gumby.
It looks bad, but hey, he's confident that he can pull it off.
Well, his team likes it, so as long as the team likes it, right?
Hey,
Exactly.
That's right.
Football's a superstitious sport.
Well, they've got an incredible receiver over there in James Washington. He's tall.
Yeah.
He's caught, 56 receptions for 1,132 yards and 9 touchdowns already.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's tops of the Big 12 right now.
Yeah.
So you talk about a game that if we don't hear Tejada's name called very much in this game, this will be probably his signature game for his entire career because this is the guy to shut down.
From a matchup standpoint, you've got a guy who's Tejada's, 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, close to 5'10".
Yeah.
At least that's what they say.
And
on
Washington's
the stat sheet.
considerably taller, 6'3", 6'4", so that's always that matchup mismatch.
Right.
But, Tejada's shown that he can hold his own against those taller guys.
Tejada's got the speed to be able to keep up with Washington. The issue is going to be the physicality. And Washington's a very physical player. So if Tejada doesn't let him kind of get into that same, pushing, shoving match and he's able to stay with him and don't try to fight him at the line. Just stick with him. Don't give him a 5-yard cushion. Just stay with him. And don't play into his physical game. I think he'll have a lot of success.
Yeah.
Well, if our quarterbacks can play man,
Yeah.
that allows us to do things up front with with the rest of the 10, or actually, 9, to be able to do some blitzing and this and that we've showed that a little more because that's one of the great things he does is when he blitzes from crazy spots that they never see until it's too late. But we just hadn't been able to do that. If they can do that and get him off his game early, I'm just telling you, I feel good about this game.
We had not blitzed much at all season.
No.
And all of a sudden
Until
against
Baylor.
Here we come with, it was Julius Lewis doing a corner blitz. We had a safety blitz. We did some run blitzing. We did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I even saw Nico Small on a blitz there. That was great because then you knew that Patterson was trusting his corners to play man. And at that point in time, you kind of felt like, okay, the defense has got it.
That's right. That's exactly what I thought. I thought, oh man, look at that guy. A different one. Now these are the things I remember that he does, and I don't think he has to do it. We can line up and play man or 2 deep zone or cover 3 or any of that. But what makes our defense great because we have some exotic stuff that Patterson is a genius at that nobody will deny that. If you ask anybody out there, hey, defensive guru, Patterson's name comes up there. It comes up there as a great coach in general, head coach. But I would think that even more people would give him just almost a little more of an edge of being a defensive guru than even a head coach.
Yeah.
He'll be just a total head coach just because he's so good at defense, but he just hadn't been able to unleash it. And Baylor, we finally saw him unleash his defense. And that's why, hey, I'm going to tell you, that's why I'm excited. That's why I was hoping we didn't have a bye. You look up and you go, golly. But I think, like you said, all of a sudden they've got it. Some people are starting to really understand it. And, if we can just get after it, we lead the Big 12 in sacks.
Yeah, we do. You have Caraway and Boson right now, I think, are number 2 and 3 in the Big 12 in sacks. And then you've got tackles for loss. I think you've got Caraway and Denzel are I think 3 and 4 in the Big 12 right now. Don't quote me on that. I don't see the stats in front of me, but I think that's right. But yeah, right now it's amazing when you see the fact that we've had a lack of that sort of blitzing and pressure that over the last 4 or 5 games, we've started to see TCU players start to rise in the Big 12 standings. And again, that goes back to having a great secondary, because a lot of the sacks that we've seen up to this point in the season, not all of them, but a lot of them have been coverage sacks.
Yep.
The secondary has been locked down. Orr's been over there just absolutely just taking care of the middle of the field, and it allows guys like Caraway and Bosa, when he's in there and play, to be able to attack these quarterbacks. And at Baylor, Seth Russell is not, an immobile quarterback. The guy can run, and he's one of the, up until his ankle injury, and by the way, we all hope Seth Russell gets better.
Yeah.
But up until that point, he is one of the strongest quarterbacks in the Big 12, outside of, Mahomes. That's a guy that you saw TCU defense absolutely rush, harry, sack. I mean, it was an amazing thing to see at Baylor. And it happened because he trusted the corners to play man defense, and he was able to open up that playbook and send those guys.
Well, another thing that happens is, you hit a quarterback enough. I don't care how good you are, you flinch eventually.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few that don't. I mean, there's a few that I've seen that haven't. But you start flinching. All right?
Russell
in a 6 inches off the target, that's a pick.
That's a big miss. Yeah.
Or it's a incompletion, or it's you're out on 3rd down, but now you're back on the sideline. It's a big deal when you start getting beat up a little bit, when you start getting hit. When all of a sudden the pocket starts closing a little bit, and the first thing you're thinking is, oh no, here it comes. So all of a sudden you're not thinking about where that receiver is. You're thinking you are, but you're thinking about,
how many more seconds
where do I need to go? Where's my out here? Or do I need to go ahead and get rid of the ball right now? Or, I'm tired of getting hit, I mean, you see it every weekend, and that's the other thing I think we've done great. All of a sudden, we started hitting quarterbacks, and because of that, you just want to get rid of the ball a little faster.
Well, certainly that was the first game I've seen Seth Russell, with that mentality was that, 2 weeks ago against TCU. I mean, you could kind of feel that in the 3rd quarter, that the minute the pocket started to collapse on him, he had to find his outlet pass immediately. He couldn't wait for the play to develop. And if that was on, count 2 or count 3 in his head, he was trying to get rid of the ball immediately, and he had a lot of incompletions and a lot of really bad passes because of it.
Now, you mentioned Matt Bosa. Can you think of a better addition on the defensive side to our team? And I can't think. I look at him and I think this guy ought to be a wide receiver.
Yes.
He's like 6'4", 235 pounds. He's not built like your traditional, even a Patterson defensive end. He likes him a little light and lean and fast. But this guy's leaner than any of them out there.
It's like a small tight end.
But exactly. But he is he's more like a Jason Witten type, Yeah. But boy, he gets after it. You can't block what you can't catch.
It was fun to watch when the light bulb kind of came on for him, because at first he was just kind of, you just didn't see him out there. I mean, he was out there, but there was no presence. And now he's got a presence.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking for him. I'm like, as soon as he comes out, if we're up at the game and I'm like, watch this guy right here. Yep. He's going to do something. Just keep your eye on him. He's going to do something.
Well, I think this is Caraway's senior year, so we got a replacement built in.
Yeah, definitely. Nice to have both of those guys back again another year. But it's going to be fun to watch him in the future, because he has certainly like you said, that light bulb came on.
Yeah, it did.
It's fun to watch him play.
It is fun to watch him play. And I don't know, they're just so aggressive right now. You can just see that Patterson defense that you're used to. I mean, I've seen it for, like I said, every week you start seeing it, and I'm telling you right now, if our offense can come out and duplicate what they did against Baylor, we're going to win this football game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, we're going to beat up on them. In fact, I feel, every week you say that. One week, all of a sudden you look so good, and then all of a sudden the next week you squeak by, it seems like, then you come back by. But I think this is the first time in a long time, not the 2014 season, where we were rolling, but where if we could just, it looks like they're finally about to be on the same page. They're healthy, and they're about to be on the same page. And if they can get on the same page, I think we can have a little special run. Is it what we wanted from when we started? No. But, hey, finish strong, get in a pretty good bowl. You look at the bowl predictions, and every once in a while I see LSU. And the other day I saw Georgia, you see matched up against us. I'd love any of them schools because it's just
definitely
a big name school. And, you know, by then, we'll really, if we went out, we'll our momentum and our mindset, I guarantee you, we'll really be rolling.
You always trust Gary Patterson with a month to prepare for an opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no comparison there.
If we can run for the table, then I'm just saying next year, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Got most of our starters coming back, healthy, too deep, a lot of people playing, a lot of people fighting over the same spots. Because that's what's really happening now on defense and on offense, really. I mean, you've had to play so many different people. Now that guy that was a backup, he started 3 or 4 games, and now he's like, I don't want to be a backup anymore. I kind of like this starting thing, and then so now it's just the competition level at defense, offense, all of it has just continued to rise, I think. Hey, I will say this, the best thing that happened to Hill, I think, was getting benched.
I agree.
I mean, when he got benched, that I don't know if it was confidence, arrogance, not enough arrogance. I'm not even saying because I don't know his mindset, but whatever happened there, them benching him made him kind of reset and say, what's going on here? I'm the starter now. I'm on the bench. What do I got to do? It's kind of like what I got to do to get my job back.
Right.
What I got to, and I think that was a huge part, and I think it was the right thing to do. And I wasn't so sure.
Agree.
I wasn't so sure they shouldn't have started Sawyer against Bayer, but the way it turned out now, I'm glad they didn't. But I thought that he needed that reset.
Now, I know there's a lot of people that wanted to see Sawyer start against Baylor, and I agree with you. I think benching Hill was the best thing for him, and that's an old kind of teacher move. I mean, you got a guy who's struggling and having problems like this. Sometimes you need to have him step back and kind of reevaluate what's going on, and if you know that that's the kind of player that you've got, sometimes the best way to send that message is you need to go ride the pine.
Yep.
I mean, you need to go over there, sit your butt down, because right now you've got something that's going on, and you need to focus on that.
Yeah, and I don't even know what it. Like I said, I don't know if it was because he thought he was so good that he wasn't listening to the coaches.
Right.
I don't know if it was because he had a lack of confidence, or maybe it was a lack of studying. Maybe it was none of those. But whatever it was, sitting him down, it just let him reset. And I'm hoping that because of that, he looked like a different kid.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm hoping, for TCU's sake and everything, that he just continues to look like a different kid.
Well, there's no doubt Kenny Hill has the skill to be a great quarterback. I mean, he has the ability to do that. The problem has been is that up to this point, it just seemed like he was just kind of relying on that skill, that base kind of skill that he's got, that innate skill, to kind of get it by. And we weren't seeing any progression out of him throughout the entire season. After he gets benched, like you said, now all of a sudden, now we see a slightly different Kenny Hill. Now we're starting to see a guy who's going to trust his read. If it's not there, run with the ball. Whether or not it was what Cumbie told him that just kind of finally just sunk in, or whether it was being benched that finally kind of, gave him the message like you gotta shape up here because we trust you and we want to trust you, but you gotta do things right.
I think they convinced him that the athleticism only carries you so far. Then you gotta tie in what's upstairs and along with it.
But you know what? He needs to use his athletic ability. I mean, being able to run at the quarterback spot like he can run, because some people can scramble and some people can make some extra yardage by scrambling. But he can be lethal. Yeah. He's got athletic ability with some speed. So
he's not as shifty as Boykin, but he's
he's not shifty. Boykin was a special guy. I think everybody figured that out at the end. He was a special athlete person. But Kenny can be like that. I mean, maybe not totally like that, but hey, when you got a quarterback that can run, it's kind of like you got 12 men on offense now.
Yeah,
because you got to look at that quarterback. Most people look at that quarterback, oh, he's a runner or he's a thrower. But if you got somebody that can throw and run, that can mix in that run,
yeah,
and you don't have to run all the time, but hey, when it's third down, you need 3 yards.
If it's there, take it.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm glad I didn't hear the Patterson press conference, but y'all were saying that he opened it up is kind of going to open up Kenny some more, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have more design runs for Kenny. But I think we'll know he's arrived next year with Dana Holgerson high fives him. Yeah. Then I know.
Yeah.
Is that now the hurdle that you have to? That's
the
where
bar's
you have to
been
go?
set right there. Then you know you've got something special going on.
Well, I tell you, the quarterbacks that Kenny Hill kind of reminds me of, because he's not like that Boykin kind of juking around, kind of that RG3 style quarterback. And I can't believe I just compared Boykin to RG3. Sorry, I apologize. You can kill me for that later.
3 Hail Garys.
Yeah. The guy he reminds me of is like the Randall Cunningham, almost kind of like a Michael Vick. You know, it's not the guy that's going to, cause the guy to kind of come out of his cleats when you're facing him in the open field. But he's the kind of guy that if there's something there that's open, he can slash it for 8, 9 yards. And that's the one thing that I think he hasn't trusted in himself, is that when the field is open there and you can take off, a lot of times he was trying to force the pass. And a lot of times that, unfortunately, that came back and bit him. It was either an incomplete pass, it was an interception, just something just wasn't there. It's like, if you need 4 yards, get the 4 yards. Don't worry about trying to pass 6 yards down the field.
Yeah. Well, the other thing it does is if you can scramble some, then all of a sudden it takes on a new life for your line and for their defensive line. Because all of a sudden, then you got to have gap control, and you got to have this, and you got to you stay in your lanes a little more.
It keeps the linebackers close.
Yeah, it does a lot of different things. It keeps people really honest. And so I hope they use him more like that, because I will say this, I do feel like the defense is going to shut them down. What I call 2016 shutdown, but I don't want to put I don't want to put Oklahoma State on the field twice as much as we're on the field. I don't want to lose time of possession. I want our offense to be just like they were against Baylor. And, you ain't got to score, but be proficient. Just when you have the opportunities, get out there, do what you're supposed to, drive off. It's not always about scoring all the time either.
No,
it's about holding the ball.
3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
3 and out.
Yeah.
3 and out, stopping the clock and using 16 seconds.
Yeah.
This last game against Baylor was the first time this season we've been over 30 minutes in time of possession.
Yeah, that was huge.
If our kind of offense is strike quick, because it can happen from any time, any place. And so we got used to 25, 27 minutes of possession time. We had 32, I believe, against Baylor.
Yep.
And that's been rare this season for us.
Right.
Keep that up. We'll win some more games.
Well, if you look at some of the best games that this offensive scheme has played in TCU, in the last couple of years that we've had it at TCU, the games that we've controlled the clock are the games that we have dominated. Not just won closely or by 2 scores or so. They're like Peach Bowl domination. And we can put Baylor in that category too. It's the games that we struggle in because we get a little too cute. We miss a throw here, we get away from the run, whatever it happens to be. And those are the games that kind of come back and bite us, or that we require things to kind of, the defense to kind of bail us out a little bit, which of course wasn't there at the beginning of the season. But yeah, seeing that time of possession at Baylor, that was very encouraging.
Well, that's one of the things that I've said for a while is, hey, you got to. I want to say it right, because I want to score every time I have the ball.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'd like to score in 7 minutes, or 5 minutes, or 3 minutes
seconds.
instead of 30 seconds.
Right.
Because when you score in 30 seconds, you're putting your defense back on. Let's say they make a long drive. Then you get the ball back and you score in 30 seconds. They get the ball in there in a long drive. Well, then all of a sudden you get cute, and then all of a sudden you have to punt. Well, now you've got our defense out there for 40 minutes, 45. And then all of a sudden,
you mentioned punting. And you're making a good point about the defense.
The punter was awesome.
Nunez has been
awesome.
Amazing the last couple of games.
Yes, he has.
Here's a guy who needs far more credit, because he's figuring this thing out. He's not just punting straight down the field. This guy is angling his punts, and he is pinning the return man up against that sideline. It was really nice to see at Baylor.
One of my Baylor friends, I got a Baylor friend or two. Well, actually,
we all do.
Actually, his kids go to Baylor. So he was down there he was at the game and everything, and he texted me and he goes, I was watching it, but it just hurt him. He couldn't really say, but he did say, "Man, you're punters." He went, we're killing them. We're killing them, but that was his big deal. Man, your punter just killed us all day long. But that was his whole big deal about the whole game was the punter. But and you know what? He knew I couldn't really. Yeah, he knew I couldn't really say anything back because the punter was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, he's been kind of an unsung hero because he has done some incredible things.
Yes.
Well, the good thing about that is you've seen the progression. You've seen him get better every single game.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very, very encouraging.
We had a punter a couple of years ago, and I saw him do this. Do you want the ball to bounce to the right or to the left? And he could make it. He could make it go where he wanted it to go. Absolutely incredible.
Well, they're getting better and better.
Those guys are weapons. Those guys are absolute weapons.
Well, 11 o'clock Saturday, we'll know for sure how we doing. If we're going to play like Baylor or we're going to play like chumps.
Well, you want to go through the Big 12 schedule?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. I'll bring that up here. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? Schedule. Well, 11 o'clock games. What is with 11 o'clock games? So we already know ours is 11 o'clock. We'll come back to ours in the last
Come back to
So
ours.
we'll start the other 11 o'clock game. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Baylor, Kansas State in Waco.
$28, 24, Kansas State. I think Baylor's on the way down.
Yeah.
I think they're spiraling.
Yeah. What about you, Wes?
Well, K-State's not a huge offensive team, but I'll say 28-21, Kansas State.
Yeah, I don't know if Kansas State can keep them to 3 touchdowns, but
Remember, they got a new quarterback on the Baylor side.
that's true. That's true. I didn't factor that in. I'm not going to give a score, but I'm going to say Kansas State wins by 2 scores.
Okay.
Okay.
Kansas State
enough.
wins this game.
Even better.
And I agree with you. I think the loss to TCU has started the Baylor backslide.
Yeah.
And the loss of the quarterback, and then
loss of the quarterback.
Who knows if
last week.
Shocklin will be back? If his
Yeah.
attitude's been adjusted, then maybe we'll.
If he can stop from shoving people on the sideline.
Yep.
Yeah. Baylor's got a lot of problems.
Keep
doesn't it?
shoving, Shock.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the other 11 o'clock game. We have 2:30 games, and we'll start with in Ames, Iowa. We have Iowa State and Texas Tech. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those. We have Texas Tech has the conference's best offense and the worst defense, which just makes our loss to them just even more bad.
And Iowa State's played a lot of people close.
Yeah, they have.
just can't get over the hump.
They play to the level of the competition.
That's right. And
you know?
so I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Tech will eventually win in the 40s, I'll say.
Somewhere in the 40s?
Somewhere in the 40s.
All right.
I'm going to pull for the little guy. Iowa State, 38, Tech, 35.
Hey, let me tell you, I want Iowa State to
Oh,
win.
I do
I
too.
can't stand Tech. I'm going to tell you. Any of my Raider friends out there, I'm sorry, buddy, I can't stand Tech.
I'll tell you that
I
stadium.
don't even care. I'll be perfectly honest about it. If you come up to, I'll still tell you I can't stand you. I just can't stand Tech.
No need to, explain why. We're all with you
Yeah,
on that.
I'm
one.
just,
that's
you know.
fine. That stadium is probably one of the best home field advantages in the Big 12 when things are going right. And I honestly think that Texas Tech can't stop anybody.
Well,
but
they can't.
They
do
stopped
think-
us.
Well, they stopped.
We stopped ourselves.
We kind of stopped ourselves. I mean, we kind of have to pull a Seth Russell excuse on that one. We stopped playing for 2 quarters, and that was just the case. But I think in this particular game, if this was played in Texas Tech wins hands down. The fact that this is played in Iowa, I think Iowa State pulls this out. It's going to be close. I agree with you. I think it's going to be close, but I think they pull it out.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope I'm right too.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
Well, I'm going to say Iowa State.
Okay.
All right. The other 2:30 game is Texas travels to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the mighty Jayhawks.
Oh, boy, that's going to be ugly.
It's going to be a fun game. How did this get to be a 2:30 start and we got 11 o'clock? How in the world did this happen?
They're trying to watch Charlie Strong's last few games.
Is that what
Longhorn.
you think he's gone after this season?
If he doesn't win these next few games, I
Well,
think
if he loses to Kansas, he's gone, period.
yeah.
But, I mean,
if he wins, Kansas loses against us, I think he's got to. I think he's got to sweep the table.
Because Mac Brown left in a winning program.
Hey, consider
he did.
just to be considered to stay.
I tell you, I like Charlie Strong. I think his job is secure this season, unless he loses the next 2 games. But I think his job is secure. I think he's played Oklahoma close enough. I think the boosters will give him 1 more year. But anyway, so back to Kansas.
Okay. I'm not even going to predict the winner, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what everybody thinks.
Really?
I do. Kansas,
They're scrappy.
they're scrappy, and at home they really are scrappy. And this is just one of them games where just the football gods might step in. But I'm just telling you.
You're hoping for a little karma.
It could be a little karma. It might not be, and it might end up being a rout. But I think it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
What do you think, Wes?
Well, I'm going to pull for the little guy again. Kansas 28, Texas 25. A field goal decides it.
Wow. So you guys were thinking pretty close. I'll be honest with you. I think Lawrence, Kansas, I think the stadium up there plays a lot closer to the stadium that's down in Austin. And with that turf, I don't know. Texas has got the leading rusher right now in the Big 12. I don't think Kansas can stop
He's a bull.
rushing game. Yeah, he is a bull. I think Texas is going to run away with this game. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 3 scores by Texas easily.
Okay.
So, but definitely Texas wins this one. All right, so the night game, we've got Oklahoma. The Sooners are going to be traveling to Morgantown to play West Virginia, who seems to be kind of the hot team this year.
I tell you, Dana Holgerson has them playing, and it's a tough place to play.
It is.
We've been lucky a couple of times up there, not so lucky this last time, but
Yeah. And we think
I don't know what the upset is. I'm assuming Oklahoma's going to be favored.
Yeah,
but I'm going to tell you that right now. I think West Virginia's going to win that game.
Really?
I think they're going to win it.
I think they would finally get some respect from the pollsters if they won.
And that's the big key. They're going to have to beat. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that I think they're going to win it. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be a game in the 30s, but I think they're going to win it. I think they got a better defense than Oklahoma's got.
Yeah, their coordinators tend to. He's figured out how to defend some of these spread teams.
That's right.
And I agree with you on that. I'll give it to West Virginia. I'm not going to name a score because.
Yeah, we're all in agreement here. I also think West Virginia's going to win this game, but for 2 other reasons. One, I agree with you. The defense is figuring it out, and I think I would really like if any game comes back to karma. If karma can hit Baker Mayfield square between the eyes, I'm all for it.
How about a Carmen Gia?
Carmen Gia. Well, either one. That works. But I think West Virginia's got a chip on their shoulder.
Yep.
I think they're playing kind of like the TCU teams back in the Mountain West Conference. They're not getting any respect.
Yep.
Their baseball team didn't get any respect. Their football team's not getting any respect. And I think they've got a chip on their shoulder, and they've got an opportunity here against Oklahoma to prove their point. And I think they're going to do it.
I think they are too.
Yeah. And I think a
I
lot of
hope
people
they
are very
do.
surprised.
I hate to say it, if we're not going to win the conference, I'd just assume West Virginia wins.
I'd rather our sister school who came in with us.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
I like Dana. I think he's a good coach.
I do too.
All right, so then that brings us to the matchup of the week. The other 11 o'clock game, get your Bloody Marys ready. It is TCU, Oklahoma State here in Fort Worth. I think we all know which way we're going to go, but how about scores, gentlemen?
I'm going to go. Can't decide if we're going to score 35 or 42, but it's going to be one, and we're going to hold them to right at 21.
21 points.
Oh.
Wow. So you're looking at least a 2-score difference, maybe as much as a 3-score difference.
If we play like we played against Baylor, it'll be a 2-score difference. Maybe that's a better way for me to put it. I think it'll be a 2-score difference.
Okay.
I like that thought. Wes?
You know what? I think we're coming on our own. TCU 44 and Oklahoma State 28.
Wow. Okay. I'm kind of feeling
We probably
the same
should
way.
give them a little more respect, but I just think I'm giving our team a little more respect. I mean, I just think we're playing good.
We are.
Yeah, I agree. I think the team is finally starting to figure it out. And I'm going to say that I agree with you. I think if we play like we do in Baylor, not if, we will play like we did in Baylor. If you remember, before that Baylor game, I told you on the bus, Wes, we're going to win this game. And
Yes,
I'm very
you did.
confident about it. And I have no proof that I told him that other than, Wes can back me up. But I feel the same way about this game. Rankings aside, the hype of the team aside, I think in Fort Worth, this game is a Horned Frog win, without a doubt. And I think we're going to see, may not be the full same 4 quarters that we saw in Baylor, but it will definitely be 3 quarters of football that we'll see from TCU, and that'll be more than enough, and we win by at least 2 scores.
I'll buy that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Definitely.
Sean, WC, thank you for coming on board with us tonight.
I enjoyed it. I always do.
Yeah, we enjoy having you.
We will not
Stop
have a
by
show
more
next
often.
week. It'll be the night before Thanksgiving, so
we're not?
spend the time with your families.
I like that. More time for me to bake pies.
There you go. We all
Yeah.
we all love pie, but bake one for me, would you please?
Well, my wife's not making tamales, so everyone stop asking me. I'm sorry.
Man.
Sorry, Wes. Maybe Christmas, but
Okay,
she doesn't
okay.
have time right now to make tamales.
Find some time for her. Help her make some tamales. I need tamales.
I'm a gringo. I don't know how to make tamales. I don't know. I buy her all the stuff and say,
Google the recipe.
Do your
You can figure
thing.
that. So we'll see the week after Thanksgiving, right before our last game of the season against
Kansas State.
Kansas State.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. So everyone have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy the turkey. Enjoy the game. For those of you who are going down to Texas, make sure you yell loud. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. So
Go Frogs.
go
Go
Frogs.
Frogs.
All right.
Yep.